When you use the standard template that we provide to import data in master data import worksheet, we have some Excel sheets and they are coded with some different colors and different formatting that you can use to understand how to set up data and how to work with the import. Let's take a look at those so you can understand how it works. For instance, this is my item import template, and with this we can see some colors in the header. We can see some field being gray. There's a field being bolded. We also have fields that are italic somewhere on the lead time calculation field, and this also have a different meaning so you can understand how to enter the fields. So for each Excel template we have some of those coding. If you look at the sheet how to use this template, you can see what it means. So the red text is field that you should fill in for the template. So at least for this table, the item table, you should fill in the red columns. The bold text is an option string, which is in English where you should use the English caption. So an option string is like a predefined drop-down list that you cannot change. This means, as an example, if you look at a bold thing in here, the costing method could be standard, FIFO, average and so on, but you cannot change it. So bold meaning you have to enter one of the standard things, and as you can see here in the example, the red ones one you should fill in. The gray background means that data can be found in an underlying table before importing. So if we have entered data in the column, it is those that are found in the supply chain box default setup. So if you get the default setup from a backyard, we predefined information here that you should use. Otherwise you should build those for yourself. For example, if you take the base unit of measure, which is gray, the list of base units that we use should be the ones that you use in this sheet. So if you call it each or something else in here, it wouldn't apply when you import. So this should apply to the underlying table. Fields that are italic means that it's a date formula field, so you have to write it correctly and in English with dates, week, month or year, like 6 weeks for 6 weeks. As an example again, if we look right here, the lead time calculation is an italic field, meaning you'll have to enter the field here as a correct date formula. And then we also thought about the order of the column. So you shouldn't just create templates without creating orders of the columns. As an example, the vendor number here will change the lead time calculation on the item card. So the column will be, or the data will be applied in the column order. So when you use the import worksheet, in this example, it will first enter the vendor number 30,000 and then afterwards the lead time calculation. If you change that around and added the lead time calculation first, then when you add the vendor number, it will take the default lead time calculation from the vendor card and override on the item card because it validates data. So we also did a lot of thinking about the order of the column. So be aware if you change this. On the tab called Explanation of Values, you can see for the item table, which is the sheet we are looking in now, some of the standard data we have in the system. So for instance, the drop-down list that you cannot change, which is defined by Microsoft. The list of data that we build is equals the gray ones that we suggest. For instance, here the unit of measures that we come up with. So here you can see a list of our standard setup if you use the Abacian standard setup. But of course you can set it up yourself. And on the lookup table values, you can see which column those apply to. So the base unit of measure has a drop-down list, costing method, a drop-down list, and so on. So this is just like a copy of the first sheet, but we added on which column you have the standard setup. So the simple thing is just to fill in the import template in the order that we predefined and fill in the red columns, make sure that the gray column has an underlying value, and make sure that the bolded column is written in the correct English caption.